Welcome, this is New England MMA. This is the Combat Cowboy and the Full Contact Writer here. Talk about things that happened last weekend. The New England MMA crew actually split up and went to two separate events last weekend. I was way up in Bangor, Maine at NEF for the City Showdown, and you guys went to
CES 70 in Springfield, Massachusetts at the Mass Mutual Center.
Nice. So just going to kind of cover some stuff that happened this weekend. What's some good things that happened at CES?
Yeah, man, CES was lined up for one hell of a card on Friday night. Unfortunately, they had 11 bangers lined up, and 4 of them dropped out basically the week of the fight. So they had a fight pass slot to fill from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and they filled that with 7 fights, one of them being a combat jiu-jitsu match between former UFC veterans John Doomsday Howard and Jay-Z Cavalcante.
Oh, that's cool.
Cavalcante ended up winning that combat jiu-jitsu match in the 3rd round of overtime with the quickest escape. That ended up playing the co-main event. It was a big main event there. I kind of brought the card together at the end. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But
Nice.
I want to talk a little bit first about the opening fight between Casey Norton and Adrian Haley. Casey Norton trains out of Ascension with the likes of Matt Bissett and Jeff Haddad. He was on Steve's podcast last week, called him the Wonder Bread Warrior. He's out there for a second fight at CES. Took on a tough kid, Adrian Haley from New York. Adrian looked really good in there, but so did Casey. Casey ended up winning a unanimous decision, grabbing his 2nd pro win for CES. He is a flyweight. He's built more like a bantamweight. He's a little lengthier, but it's cool he can get down to flyweight, and he got the job done on Friday night. It was really cool.
Nice. Was that amateur or was that pro, you said?
No, that's pro. All pro at CES.
Nice.
All
Okay,
pro.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I was up at NEF in Bangor, and we had a couple of amateur fights that opened up the night. Some really good competition on that one. But something I did want to point out first was one of the opening pro fights for the night was this fighter who's named Aaron Hughes. He's fighting out of Massachusetts, and he had a really impressive performance. And after the performance, he was very fired up, very emotional, calling someone out. And I don't know if it was another fighter, if he was just kind of shutting up the haters or something, but it was a great way to get the opening pro fights all fired up after his win.
Yeah, I caught a video of the celebration there. Aaron actually went onto his personal Facebook account and kind of apologized for the emotion boiling over a little bit. But Aaron's one of those kids who puts a lot of time into the sport and is always pretty vocal on social media about what he's doing. He does some of his own personal training and stuff like that. And I know he's put in the work.
It showed. I mean, he won in the first round.
Yeah.
First round.
I mean, he's been one of those up and down kind of guys, about 500 as an amateur, now about 500 as a pro. He goes up and down, but he's got his dreams and he's looking to achieve them. So it's cool to see him win. Aaron, keep plugging away.
Nice. Other than that, I want to talk a little bit about Danny Maldonado. He was coming into this fight at 0-4, which must be tough for any fighter. Actually, he did wind up winning and getting that first W, so congratulations to Danny. After the fight, he was a little emotional as well and said that he was almost going to retire if he didn't win this one. So that's kind of a unique situation to be there to see someone get their first win after going through that situation. And we'll see. Hopefully, he can carry this momentum on and get another victory. Yeah,
definitely. It's cool to see he came in to fight what essentially is an NEF guy in Nate Boucher.
Yeah. Nate was definitely the crowd favorite. When he walked out, the crowd was pumped. So,
yeah, Nate's done most of his work as a pro and even as an amateur in the NEF cage. And he's one of those guys I always end up rooting for because he's a super nice kid. But it was a tough task for both of these guys. They're both looking for their first pro win. Got a couple of losses in the wrong column there, but. Somebody had to win this one, and if it meant Danny Maldonado winning this fight so that he didn't have to retire and can get out there and keep chasing it, good for him.
I know. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome fight. How about you? What else happened over there?
Yeah, I want to bring up, we have some ties here with Full Contact Management. I wanted to bring up the fact that we had 2 fighters on the card for Full Contact Management.
Nice.
First one didn't go so well. We had Pat Casey. He was really beating his opponent up on the feet. head-to-head. Mixing his striking, had the guy backed up on the cage most of the first round. With about a minute left in the first round, he decided to go for a takedown and really solidify that first round for him, when it went to the judges' scorecards. And Albert Tavazian grabbed his neck, and it was all over from there, unfortunately. So Pat ended up tapping out to a standing guillotine a little after 4 minutes into the first round. Still super proud of him. He looked great on his feet. He was really bringing the fight. And sometimes when you're that aggressive and you're looking for that bloody finish, sometimes you get caught, and that's just what happened with Pat.
Happens to the best of them, man. Look at Ferguson and Diaz.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Ferguson just had the same thing happen, man. Went for the takedown.
Yeah.
God in the guillotine, man.
Yeah.
Happens to the best of them.
So, I mean, Pat's in as good spirits as you could imagine since that fight happened. He's just ready to get back in there. He knows what he's capable of. We know what he's capable of. So we're looking to turn it around here pretty soon before the end of the year.
Nice. Hopefully you can get back in there then.
Yeah. And we had one more guy on there, Ali Zebian, VIP Ali. His last fight was for the PFL Challenger Series, which he beat a undefeated professional out of Australia. Looked really good doing so, but suffered a broken jaw in the fight, so he didn't really get the call to PFL because of his injury. Ali took this opportunity against Sam Watford on Friday night to showcase his skills on Fight Pass, show in front of the world, and his little tidbit of information, Ali attained the Premier FC belt a couple of years ago. They did a one-night round-robin tournament for that belt.
Okay.
And he actually, in the second round of that competition, fought Sam Watford. And they were one-round fights leading up to the main event, which was a three-rounder. And so Zebian first beat Cody Allen Murray, and then he beat Sam Watford that same night, sending him on to the finals, where he finally beat Dylan Salvador and retained the title. So this was kind of... in Ali's opinion, this was rounds 2, 3, and 4 against Sam Watford, and so far he's undefeated pretty much on the scorecards. Ali took this one unanimous decision, tough fought victory. Really had to get through the length of Sam Watford, and ended up just grinding him out, doing what Ali does, foot on the gas pedal from the word go. We're really proud of him. 9-2 now. We're hoping that gets some people calling. That gets Ali's name in the good graces of some of the top promotions, hopefully. And if not, we're going to go out and continue to beat him down that path to the next level. I think he's
Is he the one that I seen? Oh, sorry to cut you off. But is he the one that I seen with the funny Instagram videos?
Yeah. So he had that one for CES. He had a little promo video for CES, just introducing himself. He's really charismatic on the mic,
Dude,
especially
awesome.
when there's something to set up for. But he had like roundhouse kicking all his
Okay, that's
partners.
what it was.
Yeah. So Ali's a fun kid. He likes to live fast, and he wants to fight as often as possible. So we're looking to get him right back in there in the October time frame.
Nice. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see some more of his funny posts up there. So
yeah,
hopefully
absolutely.
you guys get him back.
So fill me in more about this NEF card. NEF 49. There had to be more going on here.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say the co-main event was actually pretty cool. It was, main favorite Ryan Sanders. He is a beast. He comes around the area, and he puts on entertaining fights every single time. And he was fighting a guy, Steven Stengel, whose record is all right. He shows up every time, but he's kind of been having a rough patch. So people didn't know how the fight was going to go. Stengel actually impressed everybody. Came in with some body shots and got the takedown in the beginning. It was actually wild to see Sanders on his back right then. But then Sanders does what he does. He initiated basically the reversal. He got on top, started a little bit of ground and pound, snuck his arm in, and choked him out, man. It was awesome, too. It was actually right in front of me when I was sitting there with the cage. So
yeah, it's a lot different when you're sitting that close. Right?
It is a lot
right
different.
Right up on the cage. We appreciate NEF for always.
I do want to point out I took off the cowboy hat in the second round because I felt like it was blocking people's view. So I'm going to do that anyway when I sit up front. Maybe have a nice little hold it from now on.
Absolutely.
We'll see. Other than that, I mean, realistically, the main event was really good, really competitive, and could have went either way. I feel like the main event between Gabby Gelfin and Glory Watson. Glory Watson, obviously, hometown favorite again. The crowd was definitely there in support of her. And then Gabby fighting out of New York, I believe.
Yeah, she's out of New York. Same gym as Maldonado is out of.
Oh yeah,
So,
yep, same gym as him. And that fight could have went either way. Gabby was getting the takedowns a lot, but Glory was landing some really nice body kicks and was able to get up a lot from all these takedowns. Every time she got up too, the crowd exploded.
Yeah.
They were like, Glory, Glory. It was awesome. The crowd was definitely amped up. It came down to a split decision, 2-1 in Glory's favor. And the cards were everywhere. I happened to be kind of near a judge that did grade it more for Gabby. There was some judges who gave 30-27 to Glory. So like the judging was all over the place in the last one, but it was that competitive. Like she was getting the takedowns, was she doing much? There were submission attempts. They were both landing pretty good. There was actually a really cool spinning elbow. Maybe I'll try to get the video in here. Right. There was a really cool spinning elbow that Gabby threw. That was this close. Oh man, it was close. But all in all, great fight. I think that both of these competitors are awesome, and I'd love to see both of them back in there. Hopefully we get a rematch later down the road, you know?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
I think they might have said that at the end. Maybe I'm making that up, but I swear they said maybe we'll rematch. I don't know.
Maybe it's just subliminal messaging.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, maybe.
It sounds like that was a pretty great card.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, I was going to talk to you about this main event between Dan Dubuque and Nate Garib.
So I've been seeing posts all about this, about how amazing it was and about how they went to war. So.
Yeah, dude, they went to war. They were, right step and step for 5 rounds. I know Lars, myself, and Steve looked at each other after the fight. We all had different scores. I think you can go back to my live article. I had it 48-47 for Dan Dubuque live.
Okay.
Well, so we mentioned it before. Nate Garib is like right on the cusp. He's a young kid, and this was supposed to be his coming out party. He was supposed to capture this title and go on to do bigger things. Not that he's not going to go on to do bigger things, but Dan Dubuque hadn't fought for over 2 years, 2.5 years thereabouts. But he's mentioned he's been training really hard, and it showed on Friday night, man. Dan's striking was just more on point. Nate Garib landed a lot of big shots that sent Dan spinning from time to time, but it was an all-out war. There was a point in, I think, the 3rd or 4th round where Dan eye-poked Nate inadvertently, and it actually was the beginning of the 4th round. I remember now, about a minute into the 4th round, because we're thinking it's going to go to the scorecards if Nate can't recover from this eye poke. Nate ended up using all the time that he needed. It was probably more like 6 or 7 minutes that it stopped. But it was also, I mean, in my estimation, Dan was the fresher fighter going into the championship round, so this really slowed things down, and the momentum started to shift a little bit. I believe Grebe won that 4th round, and it really came down to the 5th and final round, and Dubuque showed the heart of a champion. He went out there and took it. I think he knew that it was a close fight, and it came down to the judges' scorecards. Two of the judges ended up seeing it for Dan Dubuque. Dan Dubuque, this is his 2nd time he's challenged for a CES featherweight title. He lost a split decision to Bruce Boyington a couple of years ago for that same title. This time he wins a split decision. Finally gets to take that title home with him in the main event on CES 70 on Fight Pass. It's a feel-good story. As much as I would be just as happy sitting here talking about Garib and him going to the next level, Dan's been one of those guys that's been real nice to us for a long time. One of the homies, so we're happy to see him actually wrap that belt around his waist, and I think he's going to really represent CES as a champion quite respectfully, as he has in the past as one of their fighters. So big ups to Dan Dubuque. Thank you to the Birchfields for having the whole crew there, essentially, aside from you guys. I mean, you.
Yeah. I was actually, I was there for a couple minutes, and then I got to actually meet Matt and Nick, who obviously run it. Yeah. And, I just wanted to say thank you for having us here, having us there. I also wanted to touch real quick on the Vasta ref touch. This was a big kind of, I don't want to say drama, but this was a big debate online, which during the fight, it seemed like the referee did touch the back of
Yeah.
Vasta.
Mhm.
Vasta. And I don't know if it slowed down his performance at the time. I don't know if he kept going. I don't know. It seemed like the action did kind of flow, but I feel like there was that back touch.
Yeah.
So it's very questionable online that people are debating. Should refs be touching people at all if it's not over?
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, the ref is in there making split-second decisions just as much as the fighters are. I mean, this is local MMA. I know the ref, David Hart, was the ref, I believe, for that bout. I saw the video. Man, it's just one of the. It's an unfortunate thing that sometimes people look for an excuse. Not saying that this wouldn't be an excuse if Vasta backed off and compromised his position. That would be one thing. I saw the video. It doesn't look like he necessarily stopped doing what he was doing, but it could definitely hinder you. You feel that touch on the back. It's either a tap from your opponent or it's the ref pulling you off. There's only 3 people in the cage, so what else could it be? So it's a tough debate. I just think that it's kind of overshadowing the fact that these guys are out there competing. A couple of pros. Vasta's a gamer. He always has been. Jacob out of First Class MMA. I'm always a fan of that gym. I'm always a fan of how their fighters carry themselves. And I know that both of these guys will be back, and they'll get a chance to show what should have happened or what would have happened if there was no ref interference, or if there was ref interference. Whatever the case may be. So. Yeah. Sometimes these things happen in MMA. These are things that become topics of discussion without even having any plans behind it. This is an organic thing. Sometimes things happen. We had Cage Titans a couple weeks ago when we were there. Has a fighter break his arm and then a guy pass out in the crowd. It's sometimes these things happen in MMA. I think one of the best things about the sport to me is you show up on any night, you're going to see something you've never seen before.
Yeah.
You're going to see fights. You're going to see, people kicking people choking people out, people going to sleep. But there's always going to be that one thing you can say, hey, at this event, this happened, and I've never seen that before.
Yeah. And the story behind them most of the time, like we were talking about with the fighter Danny, who was about to retire, and now he's going on.
Right.
I'm excited to see him back in now. Does he carry this momentum,
Yeah.
Just the stories we're seeing everywhere. So, yeah, that's it for this weekend, I think, with NEF. That was Queen City Showdown. I believe it was NEF 49.
Yep.
NEF has their next event, November 12th at Club Aura in Portland.
Yeah.
Fights for that should be being announced very shortly. So, keep an eye on NEF.
Yeah, and, CES will be back. I don't believe they announced their next card. Audio there was a struggle from where we were sitting because we were sitting right in front of the audio booth. So if they announced it, I apologize. We'll get that news out as soon as we have it. But until our next event we'll be covering Combat FC 2.
Very excited for that.
October 21. And if you haven't seen the fight posters, get a look at them because this is going to be the fight card of the year. Mark my words.
100%. Okay.